Part 2. Verdant Wind. Great Tree Moon. Blood of the Eagle and Lion. Now in control of the Great Bridge of Myrddin, the Alliance Army invades the Imperial territories. In response, the Imperial Army garrisons soldiers at Fort Merceus.
All of that went about as well as it could have. Each lord has agreed to provide us with soldiers and supplies.
I'm impressed you were able to convince all of those scattered nobles to help us. I thought they would quarrel about how much support they should each provide. That's what they usually do.
Well, Count Gloucester took the initiative in taking on responsibilities. I presume that was because you spoke with him in advance, Lawrence.
I merely explained the situation at hand. Then my father simply followed your lead, Claude. It was because you had the professor there to represent Lady Rhea. My father is a pious follower of the Church of Seiros.
I don't doubt it. I wasn't under the delusion that it was my personal charm that unified everyone. Thanks for that, by the way. I hope you don't feel like I used you, because I sort of used you. I appreciate that. We don't have time to be picky about our methods. But be honest, you're having a hard time adjusting to your new role, aren't you? You weren't even a follower of Seiros to begin with, and somehow you've ended up as a representative of the Church. I realize that you might feel guilty about deceiving the believers for our cause. But this is just what the Archbishop wanted, and she's the highest authority in the Church. Besides, as wielder of the Sword of the Creator, it's undeniable that you're special. I think you should be more confident in yourself and use your position to the fullest.
I have news. Our enemy is gathering troops at Fort Merceus. Their army is immense, likely led by a renowned general, or perhaps even...
Well now, that would be interesting. If we can defeat the Emperor, then the Empire will collapse.
There's something else. An unidentified army has approached the Great Bridge of Myrddin. They passed through the Daphne and Gloucester territories from the northwest with incredible speed. They're raising the banner of House Blathid. Perhaps they are the remnants of the Fargus royal family. From what we could tell, they posed no threat to the citizens of the Alliance, and so we refrained from engaging them in needless combat.
Maybe they hope to fight against the Empire to avenge their fallen prince. And what about the bridge itself?
Obviously, we wouldn't let them pass without receiving envoys first. We thought they may try to force their way through. We considered firing warning arrows, but they left immediately, heading east.
Are they intending to use one of the bridges in Ordelia territory?
Most likely, but the Imperial Army still controls those bridges. I can't imagine what they intend to do in the Empire, even if they do manage to break through.
I'm reluctant to ease up on our surveillance, but it would be difficult to track them there. For now, let's assume they're just troops belonging to the Old Kingdom. In any case, we should proceed with caution. Soon we'll be entering Empire territory ourselves. If our enemies are going to intercept us with an attack, it will probably be at Gronder Field. How fitting that it was the site of the Battle of the Eagle and Lion 5 years ago.
Dear Goddess, I ask for guidance. Professor, you're always watching over me, aren't you? I've spent my life avoiding people, so I wouldn't have to expose them to this horrible burden of a crest. My father was born with it as well. He's the one who told me to avoid others as much as possible. He said it would be the cause of great unhappiness to both myself and everyone around me. After some time, I was only truly comfortable opening up to animals and the goddess. Do you remember the time you asked what it was I prayed for? Yes, but that wasn't the case. Back then, I felt that my life served no purpose and that I was nothing more than a burden. In truth, I was begging the goddess to take me to her. That was my daily prayer. But now I fear the idea of dying and being left alone. I have friends who accept me for who I am now, in spite of my crest. And I have you watching over me. I finally learned to accept the kindness and warmth of others. It's because of you, Professor. Because of you, I've decided to live. I'm sorry to have worried you, but I'm all right now. I'm still not ready to tell everyone about my crest, but I feel that the burden of my curse has been lifted. Even if I'm separated from you or any of my friends, the memories I've made here will give me the strength to continue on. Oh, I'm sure I'll have the strength to move forward if we're together.
There he is. Okay, Bernie, you can do this.
Oh, Bernadetta! Sorry, just passing through. Didn't mean to scare you again.
No, it's all right. Actually, I came to talk to you. I owe you an apology. It's, long overdue.
Huh? What do you have to apologize for?
I'm hopelessly terrified of you. So every time I see you, I kinda lose my mind. But once you're gone and I get time to calm down, I realize I'm making a big deal out of nothing. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you before. I feel awful. I hope you can forgive me.
Come on now. It's alright. I wasn't really that bothered by it. Promise. I should have been more careful not to scare you. I'm a big guy, and my muscles can be intimidating.
No, you did nothing wrong. It's all my fault.
How about this? Let's say it's both our fault, and call it even. But you know, I've been thinking. You really are scared of everything. Is there something we can do to fix that?
You mean like a cure?
Something like that. I think we can figure this out. Your biggest fear is talking to people, right? If that's the case, you need to change the way you think about talking. Right now, you think it's bad, so you're afraid to do it. I figure if you talk to more people, then you'll think talking is good. It might be hard to suddenly start talking to people, though. You're gonna need to take it slow. Oh, I know. Start with me.
With you? That'll be, tough. Maybe if you turn around, face the other way?
I guess if that's what you need. How's this? I bet if you get used to talking to me, your fears will go away in no time.
You're, still really intimidating. But, okay, I'll give it a try.
Reading anything interesting?
Oh, good day, Linhart. At the moment, I'm simply browsing history books. Reading these, it's easy to imagine what it would feel like to exist long ago.
Fodlan's history spans thousands of years. We're lucky to have so many detailed records of our past. I have knowledge of how people lived, who they loved, what wars they fought, and why. But I'd never describe it as feeling like I was living in the past.
And why not? It's only a figure of speech.
About our shared crests.
Goodness, this again?
There's an experiment I wish to attempt, although it might prove to be a bit troublesome.
A troublesome experiment? You know I do not like pain.
Pain? No, there won't... Well, I'm unsure of the results, but that's why they call it an experiment. It would, of course, require that you and I get married.
I beg your pardon?
Yes. If bearers of major and minor Cethline crests reproduce, what crest would the offspring possess, if any? I must know, and thought the question might pique your interest as well.
Are you actually speaking about a hypothetical future with me? Involving children?
Yes. Such parentage has never been documented. A whole new field of research awaits. It would be a worthy experiment, and we'd need only 5 or so children for a good sample size.
Do you mind going back to what you mentioned earlier?
Pardon? Which part?
The part about marrying and having children. I've always believed, rather firmly, that marriage is something between two people who love one another.
I like you well enough to advance a field of study to previously unknown heights. How do you feel?
This is the first I've heard of such a thing from you.
Do you imagine I've spent all this time talking to you because I was bored? Anyway, I'm pretty worn out now, so let's continue this conversation another time, yes?
Does conversing with me tire you out so much?
Talking to anybody tires me out. Thinking, putting thoughts into words, opening my mouth, all tiring. Do give some thought to my proposal. Think of how far we could advance Crest research, you and I.
Experimental marriage and children? He likes me? I don't understand. I don't understand at all.
We secured the win in our first skirmish, but the next battle is a different matter. The Empire will come after us with everything it's got. Even so, the ultimate victory will be ours. And I'm not just saying that. I've made ample preparations to ensure our victory. It's my rule to never leave victory to chance. You can't rely on the protection of the goddess. With your power and my schemes, I should be able to plot a direct course to victory.
House Gloucester has changed its allegiance and joined the faction that is against the Empire. The Alliance will thus remain united. But thanks to this latest ploy, my father is more suspicious of Claude now than ever, if such a thing is possible. Ordinarily, I might credit his helpful posture toward us to his devout faith in the Church of Seros. But it is clear to me now that this is nothing more than a shrewd calculation on his part. He is only thinking of his position. We are in the clear for now, but please bear in mind that the Alliance is never an entirely stable union.
I trust you and Claude, but I feel uneasy. If we lose in the next battle, the Empire's army will likely come surging into Alliance territory. If that happens, my parents won't escape unharmed. They've raised their anti-Imperial flag after all. Thank you, Professor. I'll fight with all I've got to. Speaking with you has eased my mind a bit. Just enough, in fact, to put me in the mood for sweets. I heard that some unidentified troops have appeared, but apparently they were flying the flag of the Vargas royal family. Do you think it was Dimitri's ghost? His country was taken before he ever wore the crown. Surely he must regret that.
Since little Claude became their leader, the Alliance Lords haven't been especially unified. Now they're suddenly united for a common cause. As a result, the Empire hasn't been able to perform even one successful incursion. Rather, we're the ones who might get the jump on them. It's incredible. Magical, even. Maybe his strategic genius was simmering for those 5 years, and it returned to a full boil once you two were reunited. Or maybe he always knew he'd meet you again, and he was preparing for that this whole time.
Thanks to our victory, I've been able to study the Great Bridge of Myrddin at my leisure. And you know what? It's an astounding structure. So much history there. Imagine how much time and effort it must have taken to build something that big. Over water, no less. I hope that someday it will be opened up to the people of Fodlan, a historical site, rather than a military checkpoint.
The Battle of the Eagle and Lion. Has it truly been 5 years since then? Can you recall whether it was before or after I joined your class, Professor? I'm glad you have not forgotten. It was shortly after I joined your class. I remember it like it was yesterday.
We captured the Great Bridge of Myrddin, but the fight has only just begun. Enbar, the Imperial capital, lies far to the south beyond Gronder Field. And waiting for us on the way there is the entire Imperial army, with twice as many troops as us. We had better brace ourselves.
So, the campaign continues, does it? Well, allow me, as a professional recluse with 10 years of experience, to volunteer for, staying behind. Oh, who am I kidding? The fighting won't stop until we've defeated Edelgard, will it? Or until we lose, I guess. But there's not much use in thinking about that.
We might see Edelgard herself leading the enemy in the next battle. If they're coming out of Fort Mercius, our troops might even clash on Gronder Field. And those other troops on the march. Who knows what they'll do, or what side they'll take. Not sure how we're supposed to form a strategy with so many unknowns. Hey, how come you only ever flatter me in times like these? What am I supposed to make of that? Anyway, we've come this far. Let's just keep putting one foot in front of the other and see how far we get.
Claude was saying that our next battle might be in Gronder Field. Is that right? Reminds me of the Battle of the Eagle and Lion. But of course that was a very different time. When it was over, all 3 class heads complimented each other on their bravery. And then we had a party. But we can never go back to that, can we?
So, we're finally going to set foot in the Empire. I'm starting to get a little nervous. I guess there's a good chance we'll be fighting more old friends from here on out.
I've cut all contact with my family since joining this fight. Were I to see soldiers of the Galatea family amidst the host flying the royal family's banner, well, all chance of reconciliation with my father would end there. I do not know if that is the right path, but the fact is, I've come this far. There's no time for second guessing. Not anymore.
If we defeat the Imperial army at Gronder Field, what will our next objective be? I guess we won't have much choice but to try to take Fort Mercius, on the far side of Gronder Field. It's probably too soon for us to be thinking about that, isn't it? I'm sure it's already occurred to Claude, though.
I gotta say, it's tough to keep the fighting spirit alive when you recognize your enemies on the battlefield. So you can't avoid it, huh? How did everything get so messed up? Just because we're fighting someone doesn't mean we gotta hate them. That's probably the worst thing about war. Win or lose, I still get a bad taste in my mouth.
My rule is never to play my hand if I can't win. That's why I'm here. To win. This is my life on the line. Don't let me down, yeah? In the end, I'm the one who decided to be a part of this. So it's my own fault if things go south.
You're fighting people we used to know from the Officers' Academy. Guess that's the kind of thing that happens in war, but still, it's pretty twisted.
It makes me feel so... Ugh. Maybe I'll just try not to think about it.
It seems the Alliance has avoided becoming nothing but a glorified battlefield. I may have cut ties with my family, but I'll admit, I'm still worried about how they're faring. For now, at least, my little bro has managed to keep them afloat. He's a good leader, that one.
Across the bridge is Burgley's territory. It marks the start of our incursion into the Empire. Worry not. I feel no trepidation as we do this. Mark how my spellcraft carries us through to Envar, heart of the Empire.
The earth nurtures the trees, and the trees bear fruit. It's the earth itself that gives us all life. O Fodlan, land of plenty, bless us with the gift of delicious food.
What are you doing?
Oh, it's just you, Lawrence.
I was disturbed by your ridiculous blather. Must you recite it quite so loudly? And can you even call that nonsense poetry when it is utterly ignorant of rhyme and meter?
Ouch! You don't hold back, do you? I didn't know you were so particular about poetry. Ha! Maybe you have a secret poetry collection of your own hidden somewhere.
That's absurd! Where did you hear that? And just what was that poem about? It seemed to me that you were praising the land. But is it not the goddess who nurtures the land? Should your praise not go to her instead?
Of course you zero in on that detail. You really are a Fodlan noble through and through.
Certainly. Aren't you?
I'm not quite the same, no. Though noble blood flows within me, it can't change who I am at heart.
Pardon? I think you had best clarify.
Listen, Lawrence, you had ambitions of becoming the Alliance's ruler, didn't you? Would you like to try that for real? If you really want it, I wouldn't mind giving up my position.
What's this all of a sudden? That is not an offer to be made in jest.
I'm not joking around. I've been thinking it for a while now. I originally thought you were like a fox drawn in by the deer of the Alliance. but I was wrong. You're no thoughtless predator. You're trying to properly train the deer around you. Isn't that right?
That is my intention, but the ambition is insufficient. To rule well, a certain temperament is required. When we first met, I mistrusted you a great deal, and on my father's advice, I observed you closely. That is why I can say this for certain. You possess the qualities necessary to govern.
A compliment? From you? That's about as rare as a deer standing on its hind legs and doing a jig.
Merely a statement of fact. One that is quite relevant to the future of the Alliance.
The future of the Alliance, huh? You really are devoted to your cause.
Depending on your actions, I may yet see fit to seize your position for myself. Bear that in mind.
I welcome the idea. It means I can feel safe vanishing whenever I see fit.
Vanishing? Do not tell me you intend to die in this conflict. You cannot shape the future if you do not live to see it.
Ha! First you compliment me, and now you're worrying about me? What have you done with the real Lawrence? No, I'm not going to die. I'm tougher than I look. Besides, this war isn't just for the Alliance anymore. It's going to decide the fate of all Fodlan. It would be cruel to leave you with the burden of uniting all of Fodlan by yourself, don't you think?
Burden? Please. If there were none other suitable, I would gladly become a king. Or even an emperor.
Well, well. I guess I shouldn't take Lawrence of the famous House Gloucester so lightly. Really, though, don't you go dying on me either, Lawrence. We're going to need men like you in the age to come.
The same to you, Claude. A world without you would be ever so dull.
Balthus, do you have a moment?
Well, well. It's the little lady of House Ordelia. What can I do for you?
You piqued my interest when you spoke about my parents coming to your rescue.
Oh, right. Forgot I let that slip. After I fled my home, I became something of a vagrant, getting into fights, borrowing money I couldn't pay back. The works.
Oh, I know all about it. You were quite the vagabond.
Wherever I went, I was treated like trash. Securing enough food to live on got harder and harder. It became clear that I wasn't welcome in Alliance territory, so I decided to head over to the Empire. My big mistake was stopping by the Great Bridge of Murden on the way. Just my luck, some jerk of a minor lord north of the bridge was on a hunt for the bounty on my head.
Oh, that's awful.
Would have been fine if I'd been alone, but innocent folks were around. Didn't want to endanger them. That's when I turned tail. I ran until I couldn't run another step, and found myself in Ordelia territory. I knew Count Ordelia from when I was still with my family's house, so it seemed like a decent option. I was hoping our history would be enough to secure a place of sanctuary, but no such luck.
They refused to take you in?
Yeah, I could tell there was some reason behind it. But they told me to get out as fast as I could.
Ah, I imagine it was when the Empire was meddling with my family. We lived in shackles back then.
Makes sense. Still, I'm grateful. They gave me food and distracted the Empire's cronies so I could escape. I was half dead from starvation, so that meal saved my life. No joke. Your family's the real deal. Just imagine what the Empire would have done to me. I can tell you it wouldn't have been pretty.
I have no doubts. We weren't allowed contact with anyone from the outside. It was strictly forbidden.
I see. Well, that's when I vowed to find a way to repay them. One day I'll do just that.
And when do you intend to carry out this vow of yours? In due honesty, I don't see you as someone capable of carrying out vows right now, or even keeping your things together.
Can't argue with that. It'll take me a while to repay that debt, but I will. Just you wait and see.
Hey, Alois, tell me another story about Captain Gerald, will you?
I've told you so many. I don't have an endless supply, you know. There is one that comes to mind, however. That time the captain nearly killed me.
What? What did you do?
Now, it wasn't that I had done anything wrong. That wouldn't be much of a story, would it? No. We were at an inn making merry. Suddenly, the other guests began to gather around the captain. They wanted him to put on a show, to entertain them with his skills.
Oh, I get it. They figured his aim would be great even while drunk.
That's right. He had a hatchet, and they asked him to hit targets with it.
A hatchet, huh? I guess a dagger would be too easy.
Indeed, indeed. Then the captain tells me, "Put this apple on your head and stand over there."
Ah, so he could knock it right off, huh?
That was the idea, but the hatchet fell short of my head, nearly striking me square in the chest. If I hadn't gotten out of the way, that end would have been my grave.
I knew it. That's our captain. So clumsy sometimes.
True. Injuries take their toll on a man's dexterity.
Oh, so that's why? I just remember him saying his hands were no good for finesse.
Well, regardless, a master swordsman, that Captain Gerald. Even with the hatchet, now that I think of it. I never saw him miss in the training yard.
Really? Seems unlike him to miss that apple, then.
Yes, that just dawned on me. Throwing that hatchet, he shouldn't have missed so badly.
Do you think maybe he was secretly angry with you?
I'm not sure. What if the captain was, in fact, trying to kill me?
Ha! No way. He must have known you would dodge the throw in time. Horsing around at the inn, deadly serious on the battlefield. Sounds just like him, doesn't it?
Yes, certainly an eccentric man. Sometimes, Leonie, you quite remind me of him.
Hey, Professor. I might have to go back home for a little while. Well, that's one way of putting it. The Almiran forces are causing trouble at Fodlan's Locket. Oh, do you know where that is? Well, the mountain range that separates the Alliance from Almyra is called Fodlan's Throat. There's a fortress right on top of the throat, and they call that Fodlan's Locket. Well, yeah, you could say that. I'm sure my brother would be able to handle them on his own. But he said he really wants me to help out. I guess he's a bit tired out from all his hard work. Anyway, our dad's not as sprightly as he used to be. He's not up for a fight. Apparently, it would look bad if we left it to the retainers. I really, really don't want to go, but I guess I have to.
Hey, Hilda. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I heard you talking.
Hmm? Oh, what's up, Zero?
You're gonna fight the Almirans, yeah?
Yes, but it's nothing you need to worry about, Zero.
It's not that. I was just wondering if maybe I could go along with you.
But you'd be fighting people from your homeland. Do you really want to do that?
None of them would remember me anyway. It's just that I got captured in the battle at the Locket, and that's how I ended up here. So I'm kinda worried that other kids who lose their folks might not be so lucky. Before Lady Rhea took me in, I had a real hard time as a servant of House Goneril.
I'm sorry to hear that, but it's not like I'll go around snapping up Almiran children.
That's good, but I want to see things for myself, so I know that everything's okay.
Well then, let's go together. Oh, would you want to join us, Professor? My brother will be there, but I'm a little scared about fighting all those fierce Almirans.
If you could come too, it'd be really great. We'd all feel way safer if you did.
Great! I know we'll be okay if you're there. Let's head out right away.
I'll go and get ready too.
Most of our allies have fallen. My big brother and I can probably handle this, though.
Hilda, glad you made it. Lord Holst has been afflicted with a sudden illness and couldn't come.
He's not here? Oh, I'm sorry. You must have been absolutely terrified. It's okay, though. I brought along someone who can definitely help us. That's you, Professor. Please help us save our allies and protect Fodlan's Locket.
Good thing I knew about this back road, huh? We ought to be able to help our friends from here.
Fighting wears me out.
A fitting outcome.
Our quarrel wasn't personal. Me of all people. Really?
Here is something to believe in.
I must lead them well.
Things are looking up. Let's keep going and save the others.
Support! We're saved!
I fight for Lady Rhea.
I will not die yet.
I wasn't about to let you go.
You should have seen that coming.
We did it somehow. Cyril, Professor, thank you.
You bet.
I'm gonna drop by my family's estate and complain to my brother a bit. You two should head back.
They aren't really trying to cross Fodlan's throat. I'm not saying they're not serious, but fights like this one aren't really invasions. They just start fights like this sometimes. It's so they can show off how strong they are. I think it's pretty dumb. I mean, people are getting killed. And why? So some guy can think he's tough? After every fight, they do a big feast and everybody eats and dances and there's music. It's supposed to honor the dead, but I figure they just like to make noise. I think they're all idiots, but if I'm real honest, it wasn't the worst way to live life. Nah, I'm where I belong now, and I don't really like Almyra. If they want to show how tough they are, then they ought to look after kids who've lost their parents.
Whew, I'm tired. Professor, Cyril, thanks for all your help.
You get a chance to see your brother?
I did, though I think I'd be better off otherwise. He was horribly ill, for one thing. He looked so pale and haggard. Apparently, he'd eaten a bad mushroom before the battle, and it made him horribly sick. What an idiot. Anyway, when I told him we'd handled the Almyran situation, he was just gushing with praise. I tried telling him that it wasn't all me, but he didn't even listen. That did feel pretty good, I'll admit, but then things got awkward. He started trying to pawn off his whole inheritance. I told him I wanted none of it. Eventually, he settled for foisting this thing on me. Do you know what it is?
One heck of an axe. He gave it to you?
Yes, it's a magic axe called Freikugel. It's the hero's relic of House Goneril. He said that I should have it, since the crest I bear will allow me to wield it. He was so insistent, I eventually relented. But I don't think I can be responsible for something so precious. Hey, Professor, why don't you take it instead? Heroes' relics contain terrifying power. They're beyond the capabilities of a novice like me. You're the only person I trust to take care of it. Please, help me out here. Thank you so much. I honestly didn't know what I was going to do with this thing. A big, scary axe is not my style. Plus, look closely. Parts of the axe are pulsating like it's alive. How gross is that? But
I'll use it if you tell me to, Professor. Or you could get somebody else to wield it if you like. It's all up to you now.
That Hilda, she really is something.
Ah, there you are. Hello. Oh, yes. Apologies. I'm struggling with some unpleasant thoughts. Since the war began, I've ended so many lives. You and your students got your hands dirty as well. Nobody forced you all to join the fight, of course. You did so of your own volition. Still, there must be something very wrong with the world for it to make children into killers. That's true enough. We've all gotten older. Ah, listen to me. I'm sorry for being so glum. Well said. In truth, I don't think any expression will improve my looks. I'm a brute, no matter what face I pull. Ah, you really are just like Gerald. When I was down in the dumps, he'd cheer me up with a playful quip. He gave me his library of jokes, but when I tell one of them, nobody laughs at the punchline. They laugh at me. You, on the other hand, well, you inherited the old man's comic talents. I'm feeling pretty perky now, all thanks to you. I can't stop this war by feeling gloomy about it. Onward, to a brighter future. To tell you the truth, that was another line I picked up from Gerald. He taught me everything about life. He was more important to me than anyone in the world. Apart from you, perhaps. Oh, sure, there's that, but not only that. When I look at you or see you fighting in battle, it's like I'm seeing a sibling. But at the same time, it's like seeing something sacred and powerful. Something I must defend. You're so important to the future of Fodlan, and to me. I promise to continue protecting you with the strength of a knight and the love of a big brother. Good. In the name of Gerald, I swear to keep you safe. You're welcome to return the favor, should you feel so inclined.
Too much fighting. I need a moment's peace.
Why, if it isn't Dorothea?
What are you doing here?
Patrolling the grounds. There have been entirely too many raids as of late. And yourself?
Nothing. Not really. I just needed a bit of quiet.
It is regrettable to see you so troubled by this war. This is not a burden any commoner should bear.
Don't trouble yourself on my account. So, did you ever find that wife you were looking for?
This is hardly the time or place for me to be searching for a bride. Why do you ask?
The truth is, I know this is sudden, but there's a war on, and who knows what tomorrow brings, right?
Go on.
I've always been quite fond of you. But I've also, well, I've given up on you.
That is sudden? But why would you give up on me?
You're from a noble family, and I'm a commoner. It would have been scandalous. I did what I could to be worthy of you, but you never noticed. So, I've resigned myself to a lonesome life, my feelings unrequited.
You found it so easy to give up on me? Truly? This war has changed my mind on a great many things, you know. I've given it all a lot of thought.
I like seeing you flustered, you know that? It makes joking with you so much more fun.
Joking?
Yes, joking. It used to be my job to pluck at people's heartstrings, remember? And I'm much better at it than you are. Admit it, Sir Lawrence.
concede defeat. But your words have cut straight through to my heart. And now I must tell you how I feel. I've always been charmed by you. I do not think I realized just how thoroughly until this moment.
You and I both know that doesn't matter. Not really. We can never get married.
Perhaps not now. I've not determined where I stand when it comes to marriage. But when this war is over, I will make a decision.
You will, huh? Gosh, I sure do hope I'm not already married by then.
Oh, that's hardly a concern. No one you find could possibly compare to me. Mercedes, I have heard that you are the daughter of imperial nobility. Is that the case?
It is.
And you have a crest as well. Is that not so?
Again, it is.
Why did you not tell me? I was under the impression you were a commoner.
I didn't mean to hide it from you, but you never asked. Besides, I am considered common now. I don't care to flaunt my noble past or my crest. I have no desire to return to that status.
Then, if I may speak hypothetically a moment, does that mean that if a nobleman were to offer you his hand in marriage, you would decline?
Not at all. That's a separate matter entirely. Even if I were to fall in love, regardless of their social status, I'm not looking to marry right now.
What a relief. Forgive my rudeness. I am merely envious of your flexible outlook. It is a posture that I might very well adopt. Not to say that I hang upon your every word, of course.
You mean in terms of love and marriage?
Precisely. Status should be no impediment to love.
But if you marry a woman who isn't a noble, then haven't you neglected your duty?
Not exactly, no. What I said was that my marriage must benefit House Gloucester. So long as that holds true, the bloodline of my partner is actually irrelevant. For instance, if she bore a crest and was at one time considered noble...
Well, now that doesn't sound flexible at all. How can you know if someone will benefit your family? Would you investigate her before allowing yourself feelings? That doesn't sound very noble of you.
That is not what I...
I'm sorry, Lawrence. I was only teasing. I'm sure your lack of tact is what women find so irresistible.
Come again?
Oh, nothing at all. I hope you do your family proud and fulfill your duty.
Yes, I most certainly will.
Departing from the Great Bridge of Myrddin, the Alliance army marches south toward Enbar, the imperial capital. As an unknown military force begins their advance under the banner of the kingdom, the Imperial Army dispatches forces from Fort Mercius with the intention of intercepting them. The curtain is rising on a conflict between the three armies, which will come to be known as the Battle at Gronder, held on the same plains that witnessed the Battle of the Eagle and Lion.
Gronder Field should be around here, right? But it's so foggy. Even if there were enemies here, we'd never know it. I recall the terrain from the Battle of the Eagle and Lion, but without the ability to see the enemy's formation.
Our enemies are subject to the same conditions. We'll just have to wait for the fog to clear up.
Speaking of enemies, what do you think became of those unidentified troops? Any follow-up reports?
We haven't heard anything since. If they were headed this way... Well, I'd like to avoid being caught by surprise, but we can't make use of our scouts because of this fog. It's hard to predict this fight. There's no way to know what will happen. Of course, the morale of our allies would be crushed if we let them see us shaking in our boots. Your guidance is going to be crucial, Teach, now more than ever. Do whatever it takes to lead us to victory.
Know that I will tear your heads from your shoulders. The dead must have their tribute.
As big class reunions go, this one's gotta be the worst in history.
Years ago, we fought here as classmates. But not today.
Kill every last one of them!
And so we fight on.
I will crush anyone who blocks my path.
Dimitri, he's alive. But he doesn't look interested in joining forces with us.
It would not be advantageous to take on both at once. We must stop the Kingdom and the Alliance from joining forces. I will create such chaotic warfare that they won't be able to tell who is friend and who is foe.
Allow me to demonstrate.
It won't be in vain.
Mounted units, advance!
Next try. Pure grit.
Make a difference?
There are enemies in the central area. We need to head there immediately to protect it.
A fitting outcome.
Sorry, but it's you or me.
Now there's a way forward.
The Imperial Army is starting to crumble. We will step on the Empire right along with the Alliance troops. To the eternal flames with all of them!
Huh. I guess this is fate. Sorry, but I need you to please give up quietly, okay? I'm not afraid. I figured it would end like this.
Those fools who went up the hill will pay with their lives in the Crimson Flames.
The central hill is up in smoke. Suppose I'll have to quench the flames with the enemy's blood. You're interfering with the plan. Looks like I'll just have to get rid of you. Fighting on will endanger my life. Your Majesty, I must withdraw.
No need to worry. We still have some troops left. So long as I stand, we won't give up.
Want to die? Step forward. I'll take you all.
I will destroy you!
Not here. Not like this.
Felix.
In the name of His Highness, you die here. I can still fight, Your Highness.
Shut up and retreat. You must live to do. You're not worth it. Get out of my sight. I'll destroy you!
I must retreat. I wish you luck with the battle ahead.
Calm down, Dimitri. What does it achieve, us killing each other here?
Move, Claude. I have no time to exchange words with you.
It doesn't matter what I'm saying, does it? You aren't even listening. But I'm not gonna budge. So close.
Are you trying to stop me too? I'll just have to kill you! Where are you, Edelgard? I will not stop until I kill you!
Nice try. Make a difference?
We haven't seen each other since Garreg Mach. You've grown lovelier than ever, Edelgard.
You're not so unfortunate yourself. And you have the aid of the Professor. Frankly, I'm jealous. Now's the chance for you and the Professor to leave.
I'm afraid I must decline. Even if we left, we just have to come right back. Good time for a secret scheme.
I knew when next we met, one of our paths would have to come to an end. Your journey ends here, Professor. Forever.
It's over.
I lost. Just as expected, you aren't making my path an easy one. I must retreat for now. We'll meet again on the battlefield.
Even in an ugly battle like this, it's important not to lose heart. We have to take pride in our victory. We did it, Teach. Now we can move forward. To our victory! So, Edelgard retreated. I suppose she lives to be defeated another day. Too close. But I suppose all that matters is that we won. Some of our allies are injured, but can still fight. We'll just have to accept this outcome and press onward. Still, the battlefield looks awful. And I wonder what became of the Kingdom Army. And Dimitri.
I saw him.
Who? Dimitri?
He was completely different from how I remember him. He looked like a crazed demon while he was fighting. He pursued Edelgard as she retreated, but he didn't get far before he collapsed. I saw him surrounded by Imperial troops and pierced by their spears. I'll never forget it. He deserved a better end.
Dimitri. He went through so much to make it here, only for his efforts to be in vain.
I can't even begin to understand what Dimitri must have been feeling, but there must have been some other way. Why did he have to go like that?
And his vassal, Dedu. And did he fall as well?
I don't know.
Your Highness, Your ambitions are my own now. I will bring you Edelgard's head. I swear it!
Professor, Claude, may I have a moment of your time?
Lysithea, what are you doing up this late? Trouble sleeping? Anyone would be shaken after such a brutal battle. If you're having trouble sleeping, you should drink some warm milk. That's a thing, right?
Must you treat me like a child, simply because I'm awake a bit later than usual? Actually, I can hardly muster any indignation right now. I wanted to tell you that I noticed something odd during that battle.
What was it?
There were some strange mages among the ranks of the Imperial Army. Did you notice them? That's right. I have seen people dressed just like that before. It was a long time ago. House Ardelia was involved in a rebellion that took place within the Empire 18 years ago. After it was quelled, all of the key officials were caught and put to death. The Empire sent replacements, who they used to take control of House Ardelia. Among the people sent by the Empire were mages dressed in black, just like those we saw in battle.
If they're Imperial mages, it makes sense that they would wear the same clothing, right?
Yes, but the mages from back then and today, I do not believe they are from the Drestian Empire. No. I got the impression that they were from somewhere else, somewhere completely separate from Fodlan. There's more. Those mages imprisoned the children from my house and performed horrible rituals on them. Blood experiments.
Lysithea, you can't mean... even you?
Yes. All of the others were deemed failures. They all died. And even I... It doesn't matter. The point is that those monsters possess dreadful knowledge and power. I just thought you should know the sort of people who have allied with the Empire.
Blood experiments. Does that remind you of anything, Teach? Exactly. There was that secret group who abducted Flane and extracted her blood 5 years ago. The people involved back then were Tomas and Monica. Well, I suppose their true names were Solon and Kranya. So, that eerie group has been slithering behind the scenes in the Empire for a while now. Lysithea, thank you for sharing all of that with us. One day we will uncover the truth of who those people really are. We've managed to invade Empire territory and emerge victorious in our first battle. I hope to maintain our momentum and push onward to Enbar, the Imperial capital. Unfortunately, we are not legendary heroes in a fairy tale. Our stamina has limits. The longer we fight, the harder the fight will become. It will take immense effort to secure the supplies and soldiers we need to prevail.
Boy, you better not be saying this is as far as we go.
Of course not. However, the road ahead leads deep into enemy territory. It'll be a difficult journey, strewn with hardship. I can't guarantee that we'll make it out alive. If anyone wants to leave, now is the time to do it.
I shall accompany you to the very end. After all, someone must step up to take leadership should you fall.
I'm coming. The future of my village depends on this. Besides, I have to protect the professor. For Captain Gerald.
I'm not going anywhere. Because of the Empire, my little sis can't live in peace.
We can't leave the future of Fodlan to others. I'm sure that everyone here feels the same.
The Knights of Seros will keep fighting the Empire. We won't rest until we rescue Lady Rhea.
I feel the same as the Knights. I've got to rescue Lady Rhea no matter what.
So, what? We're all supposed to take turns saying we'll do our best until the very end? And what about you, Marianne? What will you do?
I'll fight too.
Fine. Fine. I suppose I'll tag along too, until the bitter end.
It's an honor to keep fighting alongside such stalwart allies. Right, Teach? Hey now, when you put it that way, it almost sounds like you're just praising yourself. All right. Now that I know where each of you stands, I'm going to return to Alliance territory for a while. I intend to report this victory to the Alliance Lords and draw out even more support from them. Our next battle will be even more challenging, so brace yourselves for that.
I should write to my brother. He'll want to hear about our victory.
Your brother, Lord Holst? How is he these days?
Oh, he's doing great. I even got a letter from him before the last battle. He wanted to come and join our fight too.
What's this? Lord Holst come here? That would be a most reassuring development.
Sadly, it sounds like my father was against the idea. They want him to stay in case they need to fight the Almirans.
Their logic is sound, though it is vexing that the Alliance's greatest general cannot join us on the front lines.
We should be glad that Holst is staying behind. Almira aside, there's also no guarantee that the Imperial forces won't try to launch a surprise attack from the Old Kingdom territory.
If you have something you need to talk to my brother about, I'd be happy to send a letter.
No, that's okay. I'm just glad to hear he's doing well. Please send him my regards.